Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Yesterday, the 25th of February, 2026, a document was released onto the public record that has been under seal since March of 2025, nearly a year, in Idaho versus Kohberger. And the purpose of this presentation is to discuss at a bird's eye view what this document was, and also to discuss what has not been released along with this singular document. First, the document that was released yesterday is Exhibit 1A in support of affidavit and objection to state's motion in limine regarding text messages and testimony. From a bird's eye view, what this is telling us is this is in support. It is attenuant to something else. And two filings. One has to do with a defense expert, affidavit of Mr. Roloff, relative to Mr. testimony. The second item that this was in support of and related to was the defense's objection to the state's motion in limine regarding text messages and testimony. If you go onto the docket, March 26, 2025, you will see a public record. It is from the defense. It is in objection to state's motion in limine relative to this one of many motions in limine dealing with text messages and testimony. What is a motion in limine? A motion is a request or an application for a court order. So who's ever filing the motion, the moving party, here it's the state, was asking Judge Stephen J. Hippler in limine for a particular court order. Motion, request, or application for a court order in limine means before trial. At the time of these in limine filings, asking for pretrial rulings in many cases dealing with evidence that would or would not be admitted into the then still pending jury trial. When this document, for example, was filed on March 26, this filed under seal document, this was still looking at a jury trial that was coming down the line. It was still pending the August jury trial. The jury trial was canceled when Mr. Kohberger pled guilty, as he did in July, but all of that was in the future. There were battles going on between state and defense. What evidence, judge, should be admitted before the jury and what should be kept out? If you look at February of 2025, that's when all the motions in limine were filed, including this motion in limine by the state regarding text messages. What the state was asking was to have text messages and testimony relevant to text messages. What text messages? Text messages that were sent on November 13th, 2022, inside 1122 King Road. These were also text messages that went outside of 1122 to another party, and text messages that came into 1122 from the outside. There's also some information regarding phone calls and some postings on social media. This was the defense filing in objection to the state's motion in limine, asking, as the state did, the court to allow text messages to come into the case. Defense argued that some of this was hearsay, that it should not be admitted into evidence. That's our bird's eye view of this document. If you would like to look at it, it is on our YouTube community page, dated today, the 26th of February, 2026. I've published the first pages of this filed under seal document and also provided a link directly to the docket where you could pull up. It's multiple pages and read them for yourself. The second thing I wanted to point out was what was not released yesterday. This was not the only motion in limine regarding text messages and testimony that was filed in February of 2025. There were filings dealing with a lot of other evidentiary issues. Should it be admissible? Should it not be admissible? What type of evidence? CSLI, one of the most hotly debated and contested issues of evidence in the entire Idaho versus Kohberger case. Also very hotly contested were motions in limine dealing with IgG DNA evidence. Other motions in limine dealt with the admissibility of evidence concerning suspect vehicle 1. Yet another dealt with witness identification by bushy eyebrows, and yet another dealt with Amazon click history regarding Mr. Kohberger and his purchases on Amazon. Amazon was where the state alleged that Mr. Kohberger purchased a K-bar, sheath, and sharpener, and that it was delivered to his home in Pennsylvania a couple of months shortly before he made the cross-country trip from Pennsylvania to Washington to commence his studies at the Washington State University, as he did in 2022. Those are some of the other in limine filings, and it goes motion, response, reply. Judge Hippler, in his October 16th, 2025 court order number 3 in a series, directed to the parties to the unsealing of these items filed under seal to the motions, responses, replies in limine to provide their objections or non-objections before the end of October. Both sides did. Fast forward to December 18th of 2025. Judge Hippler then filed an order directing the release of multiple dozens of documents from January, February, and March, some with redactions, others without redactions. And he said right on page 1 of that court order that one or both of the parties objected to some of these releases of under seal documents, but basically the court was overruling it. On December 30th, court released a few documents. None of them dealt with the in limine briefings under seal dealing with evidence. Those items were on the docket for a short time on the 30th. They were removed. No explanation to the public as to what happened. And more importantly, where are the rest of the multiple other documents that the court ordered to be released on December 18th, 2025. January passed with no explanation. Almost the entire month of February passed with no explanation. What happened yesterday is one of the dozens upon dozens of documents that Judge Hippler ordered to be released more than 2 months ago, pertinent to the third court order that he issued back on October 16th. The rhetorical question is, where are the rest of the briefings, the documents filed under seal, containing evidence under seal in this highly sealed case? Why have they not yet been released on the court docket? It has now been almost 8 months since this case was closed. There's never been a hint of any co-conspirator, of any alternative perpetrator, of any accessory before the fact, any accessory after the fact. According to the state, it was one person, and one person only, that committed the crimes of November 13th, 2022, and that's Mr. Kohberger. If that's the case, why, when Ada County on their website has a notification to the public that documents will be released as they are approved, why are these documents being withheld? We will continue to keep you posted as further developments arise. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.